Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway because their slogan is, Gateway's got it. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM-certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient? Well, guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a car dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. And welcome in to another episode of The Mom Game. I am Emily Jones. She is Julie Dobbs.
Hi.
And we are so excited to have a very special guest in our studio today. He is Mr. Danny Balis of Ticket fame, of rock star fame, country music fame. You kind of dabble in a little bit of everything, Danny Balis?
Yes, I have dabbled in lots of things.
Lots of things.
Yes, many things.
Yeah. So, well, okay. I always like to start with random stuff because I'm super random. But you know what I remember? Like, not most about you, but like one of the, I think a big moment in our friendship is when you gave me secret directions to the Cotton Bowl for Texas OU.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember this?
I don't, but
yeah, it was a long time ago.
There's a select few that if they ask the right way, then I'll give them, and I learned them from Corby, one of the guys that I work with on at the Ticket. And it seems so obvious to me now.
Yeah.
Once you learn it,
right?
It just you avoid all of the I-30 and 75. So if you're going to Texas OU or the Fair or whatever, it's just a wonderful, or Starplex for a concert. Yep. It's a great way to.
Yeah.
Well,
he does dabble in a lot of things.
Tell the class.
Now he's a navigator.
And the next time that you need to attend Fair Park, let me know.
Yeah. Okay. It's top secret.
Yeah, it's
top secret.
Yeah, I mean, we can't let everyone know.
No. Then it won't be secret.
Okay, so Emily was guessing on everything you do, but I mean, we know the Ticket, we know about the band kind of, but I don't know much. How do you explain when someone says, Danny Balis, tell us about yourself. What do you do?
Gosh, I've been at the Ticket since 1999, so going on 23 years at the same job, which is
that's a long
amazing
time.
It just depends on who's asking.
Yeah.
If someone is a P1, then they already know, I guess. I don't know. I don't really have to explain too much. If they meet me at a show that in a band that I played in.
Okay, well, tell us about the band, because I know about the Ticket. And we'll get to more on that.
Musician. I've been a musician in Dallas since I moved here in 1986, 87, right out of dropping out of college.
What college was that?
North Texas State University.
Okay, yes, very familiar.
You might know it as UNT, but it was NTSU back in the day. And yeah, I dropped out after one semester after I had been put on interscholastic probation.
Okay.
For carrying a kick-ass 2.0.
Oof.
Yeah.
I thought that was passing. No?
Well, I had an incomplete because I didn't go to class.
Okay.
It wasn't for me. I did great in high school. Like I graduated like 4th in my class.
Yeah, Royce City, right?
Out of 35 people.
There we go.
But still, I mean, that's, almost in the top 10%.
35.
Knox City, Texas.
Knox
home
City.
of the Mighty Greyhounds. Go
right.
Big Red. Went to college, realized that, it wasn't for me. I didn't really want to go to college. I did it to escape small town life and just stayed. I have an older brother that lived in Garland at the time, and I shacked up with him and his wife for about 2 months until they kicked me out and told me I needed to find a place to live, and then I've just stayed ever since. But played in, many bands since moving here. Had some unfortunate turns in a couple of them, losing members, and which has happened recently. The band Bastards of Soul that that I started with my best friend, Chad Stockslager, God, 5.5 years ago. Our singer unexpectedly passed away from a rare lung disease, went into the hospital and never came out. Tragic story. I don't want to start off the show with that,
No,
but you know,
yeah,
that's kind of where I am right now.
Right.
You know, just to kind of fast forward to where we are now. We're kind of picking up the pieces and figuring out what's next for us. Because we want to stay together and write and, you know, do something, but it's still the grieving process is, you know, its own cosmic thing, and everybody processes it in their own way. And I'm sure at some point we'll get to a place where we can decide what's next, if anything.
Right.
But I know all of us collectively or individually, for sure, and somewhat collectively via, you know, email, are able to continue to collaborate and write. And so we won't be at a loss for material when and if we decide to kind of progress with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, you know, the tickets, obviously a huge part of my life and has been for over 2 decades. And then I play a small part in a couple of businesses, a couple of bars in Dallas, Twilight Lounge Deep Ellum and Twilight Lounge Fort Worth. My partner, Jess, he deserves the lion's share of credit for that because it was our baby. We started it, and I've kind of handle more of, I pay the insurance bills and, you know, negotiate contracts with bands and stuff like that.
Hey, that's important stuff.
It is, you know, but yeah, I'm still involved in that to a certain degree. And, you know, as long as people like to drink, I guess we'll stay open.
Yeah.
As long as you two guys are
safe bet that's not
or
going
above
anywhere.
ground,
Yeah.
that's not going anywhere.
And back to the band Bastards of Soul just a little bit, because as an outsider working at the Ticket, I wasn't, you know, I was learning about the band kind of. I feel like people were really talking about you guys, and what I did hear was so good and like so soulful, and it's kind of like the type of music that people are really into these days. So I can imagine right now it is a really tough spot where when you do want to perform, or, you know, even think about performing, it takes you back to I can imagine it's something you really have to grieve before you figure out what's next for the band. But at the same time, I know you guys were really, really good and doing really well.
It was I will say this, the second album that we recorded, and it's just so tragic. We were mixing the album during when Chadwick Murray, our singer, we were finishing mixing the record when he got admitted to Baylor. So we're dealing with this process of getting updates on his health, wondering, is he getting better? And then, you know, you'd have a little bit of hope, and then it was like 1 step forward, 2 steps back with his health and his progress with that. But at the same time, we have a deadline to get this album mixed, to get it to pressing, because it's for this type of music, and for us specifically, it's all about the vinyl. It's all about making this stuff, producing it on the vinyl format, because that's by and large how a good portion of fans of that music want it. That's how they want the record. So we had these deadlines, and we're trying to get this thing mixed. And but my point being is that record, which will come out, I believe, in February or March of next year, was and is the best thing that I've been part of musically. All the records that I've been a part of and helped make in the past, this was the one that I was like, man, this is really, really good. And I thought that Chadwick was poised to break out and be like
what I've heard from him is amazing.
A known singer like of that genre. And it's just a shame. But yeah, that record was, and it's called Corners, and it comes out, I think, February or March.
Hey, well, you have that. Yeah, that's great.
And it's a wonderful archive piece that will last into perpetuity for a great, wonderful, wonderful man. Whereas, you know, most of us, when we, you know, go to the next plane, we have memories, people's things, nice things that people can say about us and people's memories. But as far as a documented piece of work, and we had an album that came out last year, you know, to have something like that, a legacy in a way that you can leave, that people will be able to listen to, you know, 100 years from now, if, you know, it's kind of cool that an indelible
Yeah.
stamp will be made by him to, I think, most of the people that hear this stuff.
Way cooler than our drops and stuff that'll be at the ticket when we're gone. That people will still be playing.
Yeah, that's how I'll be remembered is having a flask in my car. Yeah, things like that.
Did anybody ever take you up on that offer with the flask in the car?
No.
No.
I mean, not serious offers.
Okay, so we've referenced the ticket, obviously a huge part of your life. You have been a behind the scenes guy, but I feel like since I started listening, which was when I came here in 2004, and even when I would come into town, I always knew about the ticket. I feel like you've become more of a not behind the scenes guy, like that. You've taken on more of a dominant role on the mic. Do you feel that way? Did that happen organically, or is that something you wanted?
It's organic. It's never been anything that I've thought that I would be a fit to be an actual, day part co-host. I don't think I'm talented enough to carry a show with one other person. It's one thing to do a weekend show. Once a week, you plan the whole week for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. I don't know if I have the drive or the real talent to do that full time for real. So I never had in my mind aspirations to achieve. I want to host noon to 3.
Right.
I want to, I want to be the co-host of this show. That was never a thing. The ticket to me has always been a familial thing where you're part of a family and you do it because you love it. It's definitely not for people that are in my position. It's not because we're making a ton of money.
Yeah.
Or really even, for the market that we're in and the ratings that we get, it's not really even a fair wage.
Silly.
It's not.
Actually silly. Yeah.
But there's 500 dudes that are lined up out the door that would come in and take my job for half of what I'm making just because they do have that aspiration.
Right.
They want to be on-air talent. They want to have their own show and make their stamp in the media world. I've never had that. That's never been something that radio has never been my passion. I have a great time at it, and I think I have good chemistry with the people that I work with and have worked with for 22 years. But as far as doing this that's my goal, my career goal is to be a radio dude for life. It's never been that. It was accidental that I fell into it, and I've been stealing money from the company for two decades, and I'm sure they'll find out one day.
Yeah.
And
just not enough. You're not stealing enough money.
I'm not stealing enough
money.
I need to steal more money.
Steal more money.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of like but it's to answer your question, I think the maybe hearing me more on air, that was kind of like you said, organic byproduct of what was kind of needed at the time. Mm-hmm. Because when you said you started listening in 2004, I guess we were a couple of years away from one of our major components leaving the show in Greg Williams. And
what year was that?
That was 2007.
That's
that was
insanity.
October of 2007. So, his role was kind of, it was changing as it approached his exit. And there were maybe more opportunities to fill holes or take responsibility for content or whatever. And it was just always natural. And then when he did leave and Corby slid over and kind of replaced him, and then it was Mike and Corby, then there was a natural three-way conversation because we'd all worked together up to at that point for, 7 years. And we had a really good chemistry. So it was a lot more balanced. And then when Mike Reiner left, has it been 2 years?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Believe that.
So when he left 2 years ago, they brought Bob in, who is a very verbose vocal presence on the air.
And so sportsy.
That
very
my
sportsy.
role now has, as far as being on air, I've had to step back a little bit to account for two guys that are really good at talking about football and the NBA and college football, and they're so knowledgeable. I can't really compete with that. I can't go in there and compete or contribute on a level talking about the NFL the way those guys do, specifically Bob, because the guy studies.
You're not breaking down the all 22s.
He's studying film.
I know.
That's his
I'm
job,
watching the
right?
game like a Cowboys fan would, and I can offer observations here and there, but I'm not going to go toe to toe with those guys trying to talk sports. I know my role, and that would be that would be suicidal. Yeah. So, you just kind of, after being in this business for as long as I have, you let the game come to you. And that's a great lesson I learned from Mike Reiner from day one. That was his mantra, is like, let the game come to you.
Yeah.
So don't try too hard. Work hard, but don't try too hard to overly insert yourself, because it's going to rub people the wrong way. You're going to be exposed for what you don't know. It's better to find your moment, let the game come to you, and I think that's what I've always done for the most part.
Yeah, and I think probably people listening appreciate your perspective to kind of balance out someone like Bob's perspective on a football game, right? Because not everyone follows it as intently as he does and as closely as he does. So there's a place for both of you guys in a conversation, I think, and then Corby too.
Or I'll speak more from the layman's perspective and maybe from more of an emotional level.
Yeah.
Being invested in this team since 1975. So yeah, it's kind of like the everyman's fan. And then there's Bob and Corby, Corby's maybe a more of a balance between myself and Bob, but Bob is very smart. He knows football.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about, and he studies and works his butt off.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt.
Since you brought it up in the change, with the show, as the producer of the show, let's just talk a little bit about that transition, maybe how that happened, like how were you on the inside or the outside figuring out who the new host was going to be? And then once you did, how do you keep the show and the integrity of it with a totally different person? Because
it's not like y'all have to deal with a lot of change at the ticket. There's not a shit ton of turnover there.
No, there's no
one's leaving.
Turnover.
Except for Julie.
Right, exactly. You kind of reshuffle the cards, and then let's take this person and put this person over here. But I think the last true outside of this market people, or outside of people that were already at the company, were probably Bob and Dan. To my knowledge, to my recollection, others were brought up, like Jake, for example. He started as a hardline intern, and that guy works his ass off too, and he's really, really freaking talented at what he does. So for Jake to be where he is, I mean, my God. People ask me, it's like, do you feel bad that you got passed over? It's like, I wasn't in the running, so I don't feel bad for being passed over. I'm incredibly proud and happy for him, because that guy, this is what he wants to do, and he's worked incredibly hard to do it, and he's incredibly talented. So, resentment? No, not at all. I'm incredibly, very, very proud and happy for that guy.
Okay, we're kind of burying the lead. We've got a couple sponsor shout outs to do. But we're going to get to the nitty gritty of your appearance here today. I know. I bet you are. Okay, we're going to start with Globe Life. The job market right now is a different landscape than it used to be. Whether you're attempting to balance your work and home life or find a career that aligns with your goals and needs, it's a lot to juggle. If you're looking for a career path that offers a flexible schedule, the ability to make a difference, and the independence to build your own business, take a look at Globe Life. Anyone watching the Texas Rangers play has seen the name Globe Life, but people may not know how much opportunity is there and how many successful women thrive in their careers with Globe Life. If you've never considered the insurance industry, you should know a growing number of women are finding true success within it. Globe Life has been around for generations and prides itself on its commitment to make tomorrow better. With a virtual and in-person business model, you can find success wherever you are. If you want to be paid what you're worth, keep a flexible schedule, and find meaning in your career while being engaged in what matters most at home, reach out to Globe Life today at globelifeagents.com. It could change your trajectory in a way you never thought possible. That's globelifeagents.com to discover what a career at Globe Life can do for you.
Danny, have you ever thought about going back to school?
Back to school.
That's strange. I not seriously, but I've had thoughts of it. I've put myself in mental scenarios of what that would look like.
Yeah.
But never considered it.
Well, if you do consider it, I've got one for you right here. MSU Flower Mound, who is one of our friends here on the Mom Game.
Let me say this. If I do go back to school, I'm going to
MSU Flower Mound.
Yeah, there's no question.
Okay, well, I know you've already made your decision, but I'm going to give you a few more reasons why, just to confirm your decision.
Can I walk on their football team?
They don't have a football team.
You could
so
start
yes.
one.
They will.
So
Yeah, of
yes,
course.
you could be the star quarterback and the kicker.
Whatever. He's starting left tackle. What do you
on.
look at
Well,
this
I know
guy?
you can do all of it. You can do all of
170
it.
pound left tackle.
Right. Okay, a little bit more about Midwestern State University because they are one of our proud supporters here on the Mom Game. They're in Flower Mound, also known as MSU Texas Flower Mound. They're here to help you complete that bachelor's degree you never finished. Or maybe you're at a local community college, you're looking to transfer somewhere, they're here for you. Their programs are designed to help you advance your career because it's really easy to get stuck in a rut. So you might be wondering what you need to do to take it to the next level. Their degree programs are offered completely online, which is great for the working mom or dad or the adult learner. They offer programs in nursing, respiratory care, radiologic sciences, teacher education, human resources, and so much more. All of those are very important jobs that aren't going to go anywhere. So reach out to them to hook you up. Complete your degree in as little as 3 semesters, up to 2 years. Their courses are offered online, but they do have a dedicated team and campus that you can go to if you want to figure out about playing football. It's located in Flower Mound for all of your in-person student services needs. And right now is the time to enroll for the spring, Danny.
Wow.
You can do it from home. You can do it while the baby's sleeping, which
There it
There
is.
we
There's
go.
the segue real quick.
There it is.
I just can't stop segueing.
I didn't know the segue. You're trying to prepare
yeah.
to read a sponsor and asking me, have you ever thought, well, I've dreamt about it a couple of times and let me
You did
pontificate
great.
some more.
You did great with my awkward random question.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so there it is.
She said the word baby.
She said baby.
Yeah.
And you are, sir, a father.
I am.
Once again.
Indeed.
Again.
Yes, ma'am.
So you've got a 29-year-old, wait,
29 and a half.
29 and a half year old
that half.
son.
Right.
And took a little break from baby making.
long break.
And then got back at it exactly how many years later? So how
so
much?
Malcolm was born in March.
Okay.
So I'm not good at math.
Let's just show 28 and a half
I mean,
years.
I think the moon is 30,000 feet from Earth. So.
I'm so bad at math, and I didn't realize how much it was going to come up in on-air stuff at
Yeah,
the ticket.
yeah,
I'm like,
Math. Well, 20.
Yeah,
not-
20, almost 29 years.
Okay, yeah. Bless us.
Yeah.
MSU Flower Mound.
Yeah, it's basically just 29 minus 1. Which is
Right, the half through
28. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all very difficult. Okay, dude, what?
What was I thinking?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what happened? I mean, we know
You
what
know
happened.
what happened.
We know what happened, but just take us through the whole thing.
Did you not? Yes, because right now, listen, I have an 8 and a 10-year-old. If first of all, I don't have any female stuff left. But if I got pregnant, just thinking about
you're
it
starting
makes
to
me
do your
start.
freak out thing.
Ooh, I can't imagine having another baby. So I'm 44, too, and I would lose my shit. Absolutely lose my shit. So what happened? What was your reaction?
Okay.
Did you lose your shit?
No, I don't think I lost my shit.
How old are you?
53.
Okay.
Yeah. And when we found out, I think my response was, oh boy.
Very.
There were no histrionics. We talked about it.
Is that a
and-
word?
Yeah.
Okay. Learn something new every day.
What's the word?
Histrionics, it's like when you're acting
Hysteria.
crazy. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
But it's just a fancy way of
Yeah,
saying
I didn't
it.
know
Okay.
that.
No histrionics.
No, nothing like that. At least not from my end. But we talked about it and kind of discussed. Me and my partner talked about it and what it would look like, and kind of getting our heads around the idea. And it really didn't take a whole lot of discussion to just say let's do it.
Yeah.
not?
Let's go. Let's
Were
go
there
forward with this. Let's
precautions
see.
being taken, or?
I mean,
Emily always asks the personal questions.
You know the joke. It's the
What song was
precautions that
on? Yeah.
make you parents.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you weren't actively trying.
Oh gosh, no.
Okay.
Neither one of us were. No,
Right.
no. This was a.
And is this her first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This was
Well,
a
that helps.
big surprise
Yeah.
to both of us.
Yeah.
Very unexpected, but it's just like life. You can have all of the plans in the
Yeah.
world and have this trajectory about where you want to be and who you are and make all of these decisions. Well, I'll never do that again and I'll never do that again. But I mean, I think subconsciously, I either I'm incredibly lazy or subconsciously I always felt like that door would still be open because I haven't done anything to get myself
Right.
fixed.
Right.
So on a deeper level, that maybe a therapist would pull out of you.
I like it.
It's like, well, maybe all along, not that you wanted one, but if it did happen, it wouldn't be
a big deal,
a catastrophic
right.
event. And it wasn't.
Yeah.
Now, granted, once Malcolm was born, I mean, we went through the whole thing together, like all of the pregnancy and all of the classes and the online stuff that you had to do, you know, obviously because during that time there was you couldn't go to an instructor and learn all of the birthing techniques. And we opted for all natural. She did.
Oh,
she opted for 100% all natural. We had a midwife. Shout out to Origins Birth Center on Swiss Avenue. They are freaking amazing. What a great experience. There was a little hitch at the end of the hopeful experience that happened that I'll get to in a moment, but we were doing all that stuff together. And I was haven't told her yet. I was thinking about telling Audrey this the other day, that some of my favorite memories of going through that with her were those nights where she's pregnant and we're just binge watching a Sopranos rewatch or you know, some other, or Treme or The Wire or whatever, and just hanging out, being in those moments and, you know, doing what I can to maybe give her some relief, rubbing her feet or, you know, any type of attention that I really wanted to be present, because it's different now. You know, 30 years ago, that was shock.
Yeah.
That was real shock, because I'm like, I am not equipped for this. I deliver pizzas for a living, you know. I was 23 at the time.
Yeah.
You know, when Josh came, when we found out, me and my girlfriend at the time found out that we were going to, you know, have a baby, and I was I'm a different person, but I was a different version of myself.
Sure.
Very immature and not, like I said, ill prepared and not equipped for it. But as a person now, the version of myself that I would say that I am now is maybe a lot more self-aware. A lot more present of mine, a lot clearer about what life is about, you know, and for me, like my perspective, my point of view, the lens that I see life through, it for the most part seems to be pretty clear. So until Malcolm was born, it was pretty awesome. Like going through that process with Audrey was really fun. I enjoyed a lot of it. And when she went into labor, it's like, let's go, you know, we were both like really ready to go.
Yeah.
And, but when you do it naturally, it's different. I don't know if either one of you ever went through that. We got sent home. Like we were ready. I mean, her contractions were to their standards, what they wanted when we came for us to go in. And when we went in, they're like, no, you're not, you're only whatever, 4 centimeters.
Yeah, that part happens.
They send our asses home.
That part happens. They don't want you there till you're like,
no,
ready.
So once we finally went in, she had been in labor for over a day, and we labored at the birthing center for, I believe, another day until it got to the point where her water broke early. First off, her water broke within the first couple of hours of labor. So you're on watch at that point, that if it exceeds a certain amount of time, then you're at a high risk of infection.
Yep.
And once we exceeded that amount of time, and they tried everything to get that baby to come out naturally, it didn't happen. Then they sent us to Baylor, where she labored for another day.
No.
She was in labor for 89 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I was 34, and I thought 34 was some kind of record.
Yeah, she was on day 4 of labor.
Oh my gosh.
And I've told this story on the air, but you know, I'm assuming that maybe a lot of your people that listen to the podcast or watch it may not know the story. So I'll be succinct in telling it. But after laboring for almost 4 days, they were at the point where we need to get this baby out. They'd already had her on epidural. She, was numb, I guess, from, however that works.
I had one, but I don't know how it works.
They were trying everything. And they told us that we are mere hours, within a couple of hours from, we need to get that baby out and going to do a C-section. So Audrey ends up telling me and the midwife, bless her, one of the midwives, she came with us to the hospital and stayed with us the whole time.
Oh, that's
so we had a connector from the natural
Yeah.
childbirth experience to be there in the hospital. And shout out to Baylor. Their birthing division is insane. Their L&D, labor and delivery, they're incredible.
They're a
over
friend
there.
of the
They're
mom
just
game.
badass. So anyway, Audrey says, I need some time. Because she knew that she was about to have a C-section, and she kicked us out. And we went outside and we're talking, and like, well, what do I need to expect from the C-section? Because my first was he was not natural, but not a C-section. And we're standing out there chatting, and my phone rings, and I thought it was, but it's Audrey. And I pick up the phone. I'm like, hello? She goes, I'm at 10 centimeters. This baby's coming. Let's go. I'm about to cry talking about this right now.
Yeah.
But that moment when I was like, you freaking badass.
Yep.
You did it. Like
Yep.
she took, 45 minutes maybe, and was just in there psyching herself up. And
What did she ever tell you what she did in there?
She said she got in this position that felt like instinctively what she needed to do.
Right.
And mentally willed herself to 10 centimeters. And I went back in that room and the masses are assembling, and they're all women. I was the only guy in that entire room. It was me, Audrey, the midwife, and probably 4 or 5, forgive me for not knowing their titles, but medical assistants, nurses, doctors, whatever. They're in position, and they're all female. Like I said, I'm the only guy in the room. 3 pushes, and that baby was out.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have these visions of her
incredible.
like doing jumping jacks, like y'all leave the room and she's
it
like,
was more of a
I know.
Zen kind of mental thing that she went from 6 centimeters to 10 within less than an hour. And I went back in there and I couldn't believe it. And that experience is obviously one you never forget.
Yeah.
I can only
Yeah.
imagine what it was like for her.
Well, it's weird knowing that like there's this experience that you can have birthing a baby all naturally that I will never know.
No.
Because I just am a big wimp.
Yeah.
And so I can see why you would want to feel all the feels and just make it, and really,
baby,
really, yes.
come
But
out in a
I
bathtub.
couldn't even, I'm like the second they're like, do you want something? I'm like, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to
I feel like having a baby like with the meds is like running a marathon, and then doing it naturally is like one of those Ultraman things.
The Iron
like
Man,
the Iron Man. Where
you
you're
just ran a marathon. Oh, by the way, you need 100 miles on the bicycle.
Yes, yeah. Oh, and then swim a
sorry.
mile around this lake.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's cool.
It's so cool, and I totally admire people who do that.
Yeah.
There's zero chance in hell I would ever consider it.
Yeah.
Because I was in labor for 34 hours, and then I did have to have a C-section.
Damn.
And then I thought about doing the vaginal birth with my second. Yes, I said vaginal. Julie. Yeah. It's
All right,
It's
I
what
know.
it is.
I
Show
know.
is so filthy.
It's like I called it my pee birth or something.
No, don't say that.
Anyway, so with the second one, I was like, maybe I want to try this. And my doctor looked at me and she goes, they're not handing out trophies for the most difficult labor possible. And I was like, okay, I'll just have another C-section. She was like, we've already got I got a direct line in
Yeah.
there. Like I
Yeah.
already got the roadmap, everything. So I was like,
Yeah.
you're right. I'm not
Yeah.
going to do it. So,
Okay,
I mean, I
so-
think if I would have been able to have, them vaginally.
Stop saying it.
Are you so?
I don't know. I'm just used to working with all guys, so I don't know. You guys.
What? You should be.
I know, but they never say that
Vaginal.
word.
No, we're very respectful.
They say everything but that word.
What about the vaginal slice born guy?
I don't say those
None
things.
of my coworkers have said that. Although I did spend a good 20 minutes talking about period panties with Dan yesterday.
Oh.
I walked in on that.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to break down
Period
later.
panties?
Okay, so now that baby Malcolm is out, how is it going? What's it like? It's a big adjustment.
It's amazing. The first, I would say the first couple of months after getting Malcolm home were, for me personally, a period of shock and acceptance. Like, okay, all of this labor stuff, the realization that we are having a baby, but once the baby is out, it was a different experience than my first, because the first was so blurry to me. This one was crystal clear, but it was still acceptance, accepting that this is here, this is happening, this is right now, and this is going to last until you're dead, because trust me, I have a 29-year-old. Parenting never stops.
Oh, yeah.
What did Josh,
29.
your oldest, think about it?
thinks it's awesome,
He
and
does.
they get along so great, and he's so good with him. Well, he also his mom, after his mom and I split up, she married again, and he has 2 younger sisters. So he's been through the seeing young siblings come up. So it probably I mean it's his little brother, and he treats him as such, and the chemistry's there, and the nature and nurture they're working together with those 2. And he doesn't get to come in town as much as I would love for him to be able to spend weekly time with little Malky. But
where does he live?
He's in Nashville.
But
when he does come in town, I mean they hit it off great, and he loves it. It's his, he has a little brother. He's only got sisters now. He's got a little brother.
And I love it too, because you'll send, like if we're texting or something, you'll just send a picture of Malcolm, which I love. I think it's so adorable, and I love seeing like. And I think moms are, overshare, but I love it when a dad, does that. And Mike Napoli had a baby, and he texted me at like 5 a.m. when and he was like, Jones, I'm a dad. Like he was so excited. And I was like,
it's amazing.
So awesome. Like he is over the moon. Like, well, same thing. Send pictures. Look at this stud. And I mean, I'm just like, I just love to see that, especially because I think a lot of time, I was raised by my father, and my dad was always very hands-on. So he did all the things. He changed the diapers. Whatever. But I feel like that wasn't necessarily the norm. And now it's becoming more of it so much, where men are taking so much pride. And I think especially with the infant stage, and that's a scary thing. I mean, I think you have innately, certain people have it, their motherly instinct or whatever, but it's still scary as shit bringing that thing home from the hospital, and you're like,
what do I do? What do I do with this
thing? Yeah.
How do I keep this thing alive?
Right. Yeah. And you have really weird, I mean, I remember we used to have a steep driveway, and I always have bad dreams that I would let go of the stroller down the driveway. Like your whole mind.
Oh, it just
totally F's you up. I mean, in the best way possible, but you just start, you think about these things, and you're like,
every time you get on a plane, you're like, oh my God, what if?
I think it's a direct result, that concern and worry and freak out. I think that's it's just evidence of the capacity and the depths that we have to love something, and I think those things are definitely, there's a congruence with that. There's not one without the other. The amount of, oh my God, I'm going to fuck this up, or that whole mindset of that fear. I think that's just like, if you didn't care, you probably wouldn't feel those things, but it's a really deep, love. I mean, you can, because that baby is so completely dependent on you to live
for life.
Isn't
that weird?
Yeah, and especially if you're nursing. I mean, my God, that's even the connection that a mom must have with it's something I'll never experience that type of connection. I'll never know what that feels like for a mother to have that connection with their child. And it's a beautiful thing to watch. And I just have to realize that it's my experience raising this boy is not going to be the same as hers.
Right.
And I have to find, again, going back to Mike Reiner, let the game come to me. Find out where I fit in this. What can I do to establish my own unique connection with my son that is independent? Now, there's certain things that can be shared. Of course, we can share a same experience with him, but the real connection that you have with your child is unique, and nobody else. It's yours. It's like a fingerprint. Nobody else will share that exact same thing, and that's something to really hold on to and cherish and take ownership of, sure.
I think Malcolm is lucky to have you as a dad.
Oh, that's very kind.
You can tell the joy that you have when you talk about him, and I think it's awesome for you. I'm super stoked for you.
I'm very happy. Like I was saying, do we need to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're 5 minutes.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, the first couple months going through that, this becoming a reality, and I know we've all dealt with this as parents. The sleep deprivation is real, and
so real.
And my son's uncle on his mom's side, we were at an event, and he said he's a Marine, lifelong Marine. This guy's a freaking badass. And he said, dude, there's a reason why we use sleep deprivation as a torture tactic in the military, because it's real and it works. We, at 5 months, he was old enough for us to get him on sleep training, and we took a course, and it saved our lives. It did. He sleeps 11 to 12 hours a night now, uninterrupted, and has for 3 months.
Yeah.
And it's changed everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
You are, you can have some really dark freaking thoughts about things. My mind would go to places I never even imagined.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just need to sleep. That's all.
Yes.
Yes.
That's all.
Oh, that's it? Okay.
And fun too to share it with the P1s. Like, people have followed you and have known you for a couple of decades, right? If they've been listening that long.
Right.
And then to have this big like surprise announcement where you get to tell everybody on the air, and a bunch of friends get to kind of celebrate with you and now go on this journey with you too. That has to make it pretty fun.
I don't think about that much, but when you bring it up, it is an interesting thought to entertain.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
I mean,
weird.
that's how it's like these people become family and friends. You might not know them, but they know a lot about you.
You forget about that.
And everyone was so excited for you.
It was cool. Yeah. The public, response of our wonderful listeners and that reached out via email or Twitter or whatever was really pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Nothing. What negative are you going to say?
Right. Well, that really sucks. You got a
baby's
kid.
stupid.
Yeah.
It's not like throwing out a Cowboys opinion that it's so subjective.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no subjectivity here. It's yes, you're either on team baby or you're on team, Saddam Hussein. So your choice.
Can't believe you had a baby, man. That's so dumb.
Right.
And now you get baby content.
There you go.
Oh, so much baby
For
content.
Corby and Bob.
Yeah.
I could do this for another hour.
Well,
and not even think
we
twice
would
about
love
it.
It was so fun.
Yeah, part two.
Yeah,
Let's do it in the
We'll do
spring.
a part
For
2.
sure.
I'll bring some wine.
And Malcolm.
I'll bring Malcolm.
And Malcolm,
There you go.
you'll have started
Yeah.
school by then.
Yeah, he'll be walking, maybe walking. Yeah, he's taking his time.
Okay, awesome.
would love
Danny
that,
Balis,
Danny.
thank you so much
ladies,
for being
so much
here.
for
We have to
having
end. It's our super ridiculous, cheesy way of ending every show, which I know you know because you listen to every episode.
Am I part of this or no?
You are.
Yes.
Look into your camera.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you flash up your peace signs and you say "Mom Game Out" on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Mom game out.